Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Austin from Ohio, and today is Friday, November 12th, 2021. As you all may know, I have not made any videos in the past few days. I've been incredibly busy, incredibly busy with work and life stuff and just everything that goes with that. So I haven't found the time to really sit down and do something like a long video like I want to do. I thought about doing a couple short ones, but for some reason in my own mind, I'm like, no, that's not good enough. I have to put some work into it. I can't just put something out, whatever. But I understand that even though I put out short ones, sometimes you guys still watch those. And I really need to get over the idea in my head that the videos have to be like really good with a lot of really good information all packed in 1 hour long video, which I don't always have to do that. I like to do that, and some people appreciate that because they like long videos and all of that. But yeah, I've been incredibly busy just with everything going on and all of that, but that's okay. We are here now. Everything seems to be culminating at this point in time. Everything is coming together exactly as they have envisioned it for a long time. You can literally see it in your everyday life. Every time you walk around, every time you talk to somebody, every time you see any news article whatsoever, it's there. The agenda is there, and we're actually looking at it right now. Check this out. First of all, this was posted by The Hill. Changing America, shared destiny, shared responsibility, sustainability, climate change. It's right there in your face. When I first read this, I am in complete and utter disbelief. Not disbelief that, the news would post something like this, because that's what they do. They are a propaganda wing. That's exactly what they do. But I was in disbelief because people are actually believing this. And I should have brought up the comment section that I was reading actually on this when I first saw this through social media. My first words were, "You have got to be ting me." Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. See if you can believe this one. Canadian woman becomes first person diagnosed as suffering from climate change. Oh, man. Oh, gee. That's so scary. Oh, climate change, we're all gonna die. We need to get people off the land. We gotta save the world. We gotta take out so many people, Georgia Guidestone stuff. Come on. If we're not looking at the underlying cause and we're just treating the symptoms, we're just going to keep falling further and further behind. The doctor responsible for the diagnosis said, "I'd like to meet this doctor because I'd like to know him as a person. What do you believe? What are your intentions? What's your agenda?" Everybody has an agenda. Can't even say you don't. If you say you don't, you're lying. 4 minutes in, everything still looks good. Seems to be running pretty smooth. Okay, story at a glance. Elderly woman in Canada this summer was diagnosed as suffering from climate change after facing breathing issues. How many people on a day-to-day basis do you know that have breathing issues? A lot. A lot. And I'll tell you, it's not from so-called climate change. Technically, I guess, in a way, they're telling a half-truth because, the climate actually has been changed. But not because of anything that we're doing or what they tell us. It's because of their geoengineering projects. We'll get to something to back that up here in a minute. Healthcare professionals in the Canadian city where the woman was diagnosed responded by forming the group Doctors and Nurses for Planetary Health. That just sounds like New World Order stuff right there. Record-breaking heat in June is believed to have killed more than 500 people in British Columbia alone. Okay, a Canadian woman could be the first patient to be diagnosed as suffering from climate change after doctors said heat waves and poor air quality brought on acute breathing problems. Huh. Cl1mat3, an emergency room doctor in Nelson, British Columbia, who was responsible for the diagnosis, told Glacier Media that it was the first time in a decade he had determined a patient's cause of suffering to be climate change. And we already read what he said up there about falling further and further behind. So, Merritt added that the patient, who was in her 70s, was diagnosed in the summer shortly after a heat wave in June sent temperatures soaring past 121 degrees Fahrenheit. America is changing faster than ever. Add Changing America to your Facebook or Twitter feed to stay on top of the news. Yeah, why do you think America's changing? They're just telling you with little stuff like this. They're just telling you. And most people think it's a good thing. Because they don't understand the nature of the agenda and the nature of the beast. They think that man can save the world from himself. Not possible. Never has been possible. Not intended. So, if you think that, please remove your head from the sand and join the rest of us up here for a intelligent conversation. So basically, this is just, they're blaming heat, they're blaming all of this, but this stuff has been going on for a while. It's called a heat stroke. Record-breaking heat in Canada this summer is believed to have killed more than 500 people in British Columbia alone, according to coroner reports. Wildfires caused the air quality in the province to become 43 times worse than levels deemed acceptably safe through July and August. We all know about the wildfires. They're not actual wildfires. Well, they're not naturally started wildfires. When they take off, of course, the trajectory, they go and do whatever. But we have the footage. We have the footage of the directed energy weapons. Taking out power lines, taking out trees. Burning trees from the inside out. Taking out houses and leaving everything else alone. Somehow fire jumps from street to street to street and leaves all the trees and shrubs and bushes in between unscathed. Quote, she has diabetes, she has some heart failure, she lives in a trailer, no air conditioning, Merritt said of the patient. All of her health problems have all been worsened, and she's really struggling to stay hydrated. Okay. This reminds me of the C19 stuff. They're going to say that anything and everything is attributed to climate change now. Because that's where we are on the agenda. From C19 to climate. Literally what we've said the whole time, and now they're doing it, and people still like to laugh at us and make fun of us for being crazy conspiracy theorists, right? So literally, if you're, like, for instance, how old is she? 70-something? Okay, she has diabetes. She has heart failure. She lives in a trailer with no air conditioning. And they're blaming climate change for this woman's worsening health. How stupid can you be to believe this? If anybody had diabetes, heart failure, lived in a trailer with no air conditioning, you would have breathing problems too. You know why? Because a trailer is a hot box. It's literally a hot box. And heart failure, that destroys your entire body. And of course, we all know about diabetes. You don't need all these people on here and the medical professionals and all this, but you know what? They've spent the whole last year and a half, 21 months now, building us up for this. Pounding it in our head that anything and everything was C-19. Well, now we're moving away from that since enough people got their shot. So now they're ready to integrate the real plan and the real phase of the agenda. They're already done with that. They're done with anything C-19. That's why you barely hear about it anymore. They might pick it up a little bit. They're just going to drop it by the wayside like it never existed. And funny thing about that, clinicians in Nelson following diagnosis launched Doctors and Nurses for Planetary Health, an initiative of about 40 healthcare professionals working to better human health by protecting the planet, according to the group's Twitter page. Literally sounds like they were sponsored by the World Economic Forum. And check this out. Quote, I don't think people realize the impacts of environmental degradation and climate change on human health, Merritt told the local British Columbia news outlet, Castlegar News, during a climate action demonstration last week. Quote, working with patients directly, we're actually starting to see the health effects of climate change now. It's not just something that's going to happen in the future. Yeah, all of a sudden it's right now, right? And that's it for this one. It's all of a sudden right now. Like, oh, it's climate, it's this, it's that, it's changing America, it's sustainability, sustainable development, Agenda 2030, come on, it's easy, and they're making it so obvious for you to figure out. They are making it so obvious, and people are still just gone. Moving on. I had to laugh at this one, actually. You ready for this? From space, astronaut sounds the alarm about climate crisis. Oh, geez, so they're going to use one lie that is literally like 60, 70 years old now to reinforce another lie in order for them to be able to get more people on board with supporting whatever they're doing so that they can keep or help keep the rest of us in line while they build their new world order. This is how easy it is. You don't even have to branch out on thoughts anymore. Like we used to have to dig for this stuff and like connect different things to different things, but now they never used to just come out and tell us. Ever. And apparently this is what this guy saw, even though we're obviously not going to get any pictures or anything like that, right? Entire regions of Earth in flames, storm trailing destruction in their wake, and the haunting fragility of humanity's only home floating like a blue, but also tarnished pearl in the vastness of space. Yeah, okay. Through the portholes of the International Space Station, French astronaut Thomas Pesquet has an arresting view of global warming's repercussions. He used a video call from space to sound the alarm Thursday as negotiators, government officials, and activists continue meeting at UN Climate Conference in Glasgow, Scotland. So this guy just used a video call to sound the alarm at the same time that they're doing this UN meeting? Come on. Quote, we see the pollution of rivers, atmospheric pollution, things like that. What really shocked me on this mission were extreme weather or climate phenomena, Pesquet told French President Emmanuel Macron during the call. Yeah, so he just picks up the phone and calls the French president. He's like, yeah, so all this is going on and all that. If this was a legit thing, let's think for a minute. If this was all legitimate, what this guy is saying, with how badly they want to push this agenda, they would be plastering those pictures of the Earth all over the television, billboards, everywhere. You would see it everywhere, but guess what? Exactly. Quote, "We saw entire regions burning from the space station in Canada and California," he said. "We saw all of California covered by a cloud of smoke and flames with the naked eye from 400 kilometers, 250 miles up. Can't get that high, pal. You can't go that high." I do not believe it. From space, the fragility of Earth is a shock. It's a sensory experience to see just how isolated we are as an oasis with limited resources. Yeah, let me guess, we're all one human family and we need a one world government, and come on. So easy. This is Pesquit's second mission into the space station. He also spent 197 days in orbit in 2016-2017. "The destructive effects of human activity have become increasingly visible," he said. Where's the pictures? We get all these high-resolution cameras. Where's the videos? Where's the footage from the International Space Station? This is literally a propaganda piece just right in your face. Most Americans don't see it. "Oh, it's 2021. We don't use propaganda anymore. That wouldn't even work on us." Well, the fact that most people say that is the reason that it is working, so. Year after year, we also know that we are beating records for fires, storms, for floods, and it's very, very visible. "I very clearly saw the difference compared to my mission 4 or 5 years ago," the astronaut said. Think about this. Why would that be an authentic quote from somebody who actually saw this? Year after year, we also know we are beating records for fires, for storms, for floods, and that is very, very visible. I very clearly saw the difference compared to my mission 4 or 5 years ago. Macron said the goal for climate negotiators in Scotland must be to speed up humanity's response. "There's still a huge job ahead of us, and I think we are all aware of that," the French leader said. Well, now check it out. No pictures, no video, no nothing. Just a picture of this guy getting ready to jump in the water tank. You want to see what this climate change is? You want to see what all of this, like where it came from, and the whole climate crisis. And this is only one source. Okay, here I am over at the Defense Technical Information Center, and the full text of the report is right there. But ready for this? Weather as a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025. Report date: August 1st, 1996. And these are the people that were involved. Now, this is a legitimate thing here. I will link this for you guys. In 2025, U.S. aerospace forces can own the weather by capitalizing on emerging technologies and focusing development of those technologies to warfighting applications. Such a capability offers the warfighter tools to shape the battle space in ways never before possible. It provides opportunities to impact operations across the full spectrum of conflict, and it's pertinent to all possible futures. The purpose of this paper is to outline a strategy for the use of future weather modification system to achieve military objectives, rather than to provide a detailed technical roadmap. A high-risk, high-reward endeavor, weather modification, offers a dilemma not unlike the splitting of an atom. While some segments of society will always be reluctant to examine controversial issues, such as weather modification, the tremendous military capabilities that could result from this field are ignored at our own peril. From enhancing friendly operations to disrupting those of the enemy, via small-scale tailoring of natural weather patterns to complete dominance of global communications and counter-space control, weather modification offers a warfighter a wide range of possible options to defeat or coerce an adversary. Some of the potential capabilities a weather modification system could provide to a warfighting commander-in-chief are listed in Table 1. Technology advancements in 5 major areas are necessary for an integrated weather modification capability, advanced nonlinear modeling techniques, computational capability, information gathering and transmission, a global sensor array, weather intervention techniques. Some intervention tools exist today and others may be developed and refined in the future. So, if you don't know what you're looking at, I just have the overview here. If you don't know what you're looking at, this is a military document about weather modification, owning the weather in 2025. How far are we from that? I'd say they're ahead of schedule, actually. And there's what it is. There's the overview. And the only thing they talk about is in a war frame of mind. They will use this and have been using this, actually, for war against us. There's your wildfires. There's your crazy hurricanes. There's all your volcanoes erupting. There's everything. People can sit there and say all day long, oh, they can't control the weather. Austin, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. And then I would direct them here. Oh, well, here's a military document. You can read the full text. I will link this for you guys. Written up in 96, and, you know, people would say, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't think they could do that. Yeah, you don't think they could do that. This is literally it. Weather as a force multiplier. Owning the weather in 2025. It doesn't get more clear than that. Come on. This is how they were going to sell this climate change lie to us. And this is just one thing. This isn't even all the documentation that they have on HAARP, on geoengineering in general, and just the reason for all of it. Come on, come on, come on. Moving on. Okay, I found this report yesterday that was written up yesterday, and it's from Canada, which that's okay because it's a worldwide agenda now. There's no countries anymore. It's all just a figment of our imagination. Yes, they're still outlined. Yes, they're still named, but all of the internal policies of every single country are literally pretty much the same at this point in time. Because that's where we are, because the world is now a one world government. The one that we've been trying to warn people about. Actually, no, I didn't want to show you this one first. Sorry, guys, if you got a good look at that. I didn't want to show you this one first. Hold up. This is the one I wanted to show you guys first, before we got into that. So, COP26 summit nears conclusion after surprise U.S.-China pledge to tackle climate change. I don't know why it was such a surprise. People like to claim that the U.S. and China are mortal fucking enemies, but they're not. They're literally, excuse my language, but they're literally working together against their own people. That's what this is. International lawmakers, business leaders, and activists convened in Glasgow, UK on Thursday in the final days of the COP26 climate summit. Yeah, it's a new world order meeting. This is the global government. This is the world government right here. Delegates have been asked to accelerate action on climate change and commit more ambitious cuts in greenhouse gas emissions, all in an effort to limit global temperature rises. Let's see. 10:50 a.m. Carbon tax would help level the playing field for companies, Skanska EVP says. Such a scam, such a scam. Lena Hawk, Executive Vice President for Sustainability. There's that word again. There's that buzzword. Sustainability. Agenda 2030. Agenda 21. An innovation at construction firm Skanska told CNBC earlier on Thursday that a carbon tax would help level the playing field for all companies. When they say level the playing field, they mean we are all going to be equally poor dirt. Nothing. No more working or getting what you want for your own and your own family. No, this is worldwide communism. You're not allowed to have that anymore. Everything that you think that you are going to get, you have to give to somebody else. Quotes, we are amongst companies that would embrace clarity as well as how to do carbon pricing and carbon taxes at a global trade, she said. COP26 pledges could bring world 9% closer to 1.5 degree goal, Climate Action Tracker says. The key pledges announced the COP26 climate summit could bring the world 9% closer to achieving the 1.5 degree Celsius global warming target by 2030. Oh, 9%, 1.5, 1 plus 5 is 6. 9% obviously upside down is a 6. And COP26, there's your 666. In an analysis published Thursday, CAT said the sectoral goals on methane, coal transport, and deforestation proposed that the climate conference in Glasgow could cut the equivalent of 2.2 gigatons of carbon dioxide. 2.2 gigatons. However, CAT said that even with all the new climate pledges, global emissions were expected to be almost twice as high in 2030 as necessary for a 1.5 degrees Celsius compatible pathway. On Tuesday, CAT warned global warming was on track to hit 2.4 degrees Celsius by the end of the century despite 2030 targets. You know why they're doing that? After all this stuff that was listed up here, they said, oh, it might not be enough. It will never be enough. Let's see. How do we cut so much carbon? We need to cut a lot of carbon to save the world, What emits the most carbon? I'm doing it right now. Oh, human beings? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take a bunch of you out. Countries join alliance to stop drilling for oil. Tell that to the United States government. They are the oil drillers. We invaded countries for it. Now all of a sudden they want to stop? No, they just want you to stop using it. They'll still use it. We will not be allowed. The Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, an initiative founded by Denmark and Costa Rica aimed at phasing out oil and gas production, has been formalized at COP26. France, Greenland, Ireland, Sweden, and Wales joined the alliance as full members on Thursday, while Portugal, New Zealand, and Italy joined as lower-tier members. But some of the world's biggest drillers of oil, the U.S., Saudi Arabia, Russia, Canada, and China, did not sign up to join the group. However, the U.S. state of California, Canadian province of Quebec did become members. The UK, which is hosting COP26, is calling on worldwide leaders to be ambitious with their promises at the summit, also opted not to join the alliance. Allegations of anti-green plotting a lie, Saudi energy minister says. Saudi Arabia's energy minister, Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman Al Saud, has denounced rumors that the oil-rich nation has been trying to sabotage international efforts to go green. What you have been hearing is a false allegation and a cheat and a lie, he told reporters at COP26. Documents leaked to Greenpeace unearthed last month showed that leading fossil fuel producers, including Australia, Saudi Arabia, and OPEC, have been lobbying the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change to change its stance on the need for rapid global phase out of fossil fuels. Still a big mountain to climb, but the world's leaders must be ambitious, COP26 president says. Come on. Oh, we're getting there. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're getting there. UK lawmaker Alok Sharma, who is serving as president of COP26, told CNBC world leaders must be ambitious as negotiations at the summit draw to a close. Progress has been made, but there's still a pretty big mountain to climb. We got 48 hours, and we're getting to that point where the rubber is at the road, and we need to make sure we do our best to get this one over the line. World leaders came here to start and said they wanted the ambitious outcome, and that's what we all need to drive towards. And of course, we got the U.S.-China emissions deal will boost COP26 negotiations. Johnson says, Boris Johnson. The U.S. and China surprise agreement on cutting carbon emissions is a boost to ongoing talks at COP26, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said. Ministers representing the world's two biggest polluters unveiled the U.S.-China joint Glasgow Declaration on enhancing climate action in the 2020s on Wednesday. Oh, come on. Sorry about that, guys. I almost crashed my recording app. Anyway, U.S. and China working together. So if you think that the U.S. was ever against China, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. Banks and boards could be climate litigation targets. Financial institutions and individual board members could be the next targets of climate litigation cases, according to the campaigners who helped secure a landmark courtroom victory against oil giant Royal Dutch Shell. We have litigated against countries and been successful, said Roger Cox, lawyer for Milieu Defense. I don't even know how to say that. Milieu Defensie, environmental campaign group in the Dutch branch of Friends of the Earth. Now we have shown that one can successfully litigate against fossil fuel corporations. And I think the next step is to start also litigating against financial institutions who make these emissions and fossil fuel projects possible. And he just basically goes on to say things like that. And the Hague District Court on May 26th ordered the Anglo-Dutch oil giant to reduce its global carbon emissions by 45% by the end of 2030, compared with 2019 levels, marking the first time in history that a company had been legally obliged to align its policies with the Paris Agreement. That is terrifying. Free enterprise, no longer a thing. Freedom in general, no longer a thing. So, hope you like your life. And it just says the COP26 summit is entering its final few days, with the closure of negotiations beginning Friday and winding down on Saturday, so right where we are right now. Probably up there talking and laughing at us right now. Delegates and activists will be digesting the surprise pledge from China and the U.S., the world's biggest carbon polluters, to increase cooperation on climate action. China's climate envoy, Xi Zhenhua, told reporters on Wednesday that the two countries had struck an agreement that calls for concrete and pragmatic regulations in decarbonization, reducing methane emissions, and fighting deforestation. Xi said, according to Reuters. First of all, let me read this first. The U.S. climate envoy, John Kerry, commented that the declaration is a step in the right direction. You know they all flew private jets there, right? It looks so stupid. I wish I would have brought the picture up. They're all literally parked in the same little complex. So they get to fly their private jets over there, and John Kerry here was going on about the reset last year. Just that's all he would ever talk about. He wouldn't shut up about it. Won't shut up about the New World Order. Now he's saying it's a step in the right direction as he gets back on his private jet and flies wherever. But your car, your truck, your SUV that you drive your kids around in, That's the problem. You are the problem. We are not the problem. You are the problem. We must get rid of the problem. The summit's focus on Thursday will be on cities, regions, and built environment, and looking to advance climate action in the places we live, from communities through to cities and regions, COP26 organizers say. You know what that is? Read it closely. I won't read it again, but read it closely. Really let it sink in. This is what they're going to use to force you off of the land into these big urban areas with the what do they call it? I forget what they call it. But these mega cities, they're going to be forcing you in there so they can protect the climate. We got to protect the planet, guys. We got to protect the whole world. We got to do this or we're all going to die. They've been saying this forever. The original date for the climate to be out of hand was 2000. Here we are, 21 years later. Guess what? Everything's fine, and minus some psychopath somewhere trying to take over the world and successfully doing so at this time. But, you know, I'll just leave that one for whatever. But yes, so Thursday they focused on cities, regions, built environment, looking to advance climate action in the places we live, from communities through to cities and regions. Yeah, advancing climate action is get your ass up off this land now, by threat of force, from government. Now, moving on. Okay, here we are back over at this, now that I am ready to show you this. And this is how climate change advanced the one world order phenomenon. And this was written up yesterday. One is a health catastrophe, the other is environmental disaster. Yet upon analysis, a synergy could be discovered between carbon emissions and the COVID situation. To accelerate the rate of global assimilation, it would be difficult to come up with a more potent solution. What we have with COVID cuts to the core of humanity, our physical health. On a psychic level, nothing supersedes health in terms of human concern. COVID is a multifaceted phenomenon. The virus serves as an edict to control the citizens of nations. It functions as a giant boost in revenues for pharmaceutical companies. In terms of Canadian society, offers transition to the authoritarian, supersedes the law. Yes, same thing in the United States. Same thing in the United States. It also serves to establish common behavior among the peoples of the world. Creates a one-world market. Nothing pleases global corporations more. A singular worldwide market being the stuff of globalist billionaires' deepest dreams. As totalitarian authorities of the 20th century understood, nothing creates citizen conformity like the element of fear. Human beings become malleable to the will of politicians, corporations, and media. That's a fact. That's a fact. Continuing with the fear factor, we turn to fossil fuel emissions. In this case, it's not the human body, rather health of the planet which provides motivation. Meaning at the root of both we find the same motivation. Fear. Yes. Other parallels were found. Again, the world must come together to battle this evil, like the situation. Carbon emissions affect the entire planet, like C-19. The malady knows no borders. As with our modern-day plague, financial fortune and revenues awaits those who develop so-called solutions. It should come as no surprise that Cultural Action Party have an opinion on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's role in all of this. At the recent COP26 Environmental Summit, our PM attempted to position himself as the Pied Piper of the movement against worldwide carbon emissions. He made a pitch for the entire planet to come together to fight a holy war. Oh yeah? He used that terminology? A holy war. Come on. Come on. How can the masses of people still be so blind? Trudeau pushes for price on 60% of world's greenhouse gas emissions. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has urged other countries to adopt carbon pricing as a way to cut global emissions of greenhouse gases. Currently, about 20% of the world's carbon emissions are subject to pricing. Trudeau wants that level to be 60%. 60%. 60%. Of course, if Trudeau has his way, 60% would be 100%. Well, it wouldn't be his way. It would be his master's way. So, the entire planet would share a common attitude and indulge in common behavior. What globalist practitioner could ask for anything more? Mr. Trudeau is what CAP would call a globalist evangelist. It's weird. If the scenario involves melting of disparate nations into a singular entity, RPM is all over it. Same thing in the United States. Our representatives are talking about coming together, taking on this crisis together as one. I.e., New World Order. Thus, a convergence of empowerment for those moving in the same circles as Mr. Trudeau, giant profits for Big Pharma, social media billionaires benefiting from the shut-in phenomena, produced by C19, Amazon stock price boost resulting from a lack of in-person shopping. Yes. Political empowerment through justified public behavior control, and erosion of relevance of the law. In the United States as well. They haven't been using laws. They've just been using executive orders. And everyone does what they're told. The sublimation of public protest with C19 as a rationalization. An ability for government to do just about anything they darn well please. That was the point. That was the point. The manifestations of the C carbon phenomenon leading to a singular social phenomenon. Transition away from freedom and democracy and toward what PM Trudeau alluded to on day one. Canada as a post-modern society. Postmodernism. They're telling you, just like we've been telling you. But now they're telling you. So maybe you should cut the TV time and do a little more reading. Naturally, he didn't elaborate on the meaning of the statement. Better wait until the point when Canadians figure it out for themselves. The moment being when it is too late to do anything to prevent the globalist agenda from success. Absolutely. I don't want to have to go through and read all this. I want to get to other things here. But, as you could see, Cultural Action Party of Canada, they're trying to fight back against this. So, more people understand what's going on, which is good. Moving on. I just wanted to bring this up real quick just to kind of show how quick it was for the truth to be taken down. Oh, get out of here. Okay, so going back to the Travis Scott Astro World conspiracy theory TikTok videos taken down. Ready for this? Conspiracy theory videos about the fatal crush at Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival are being taken off TikTok, the video platform says. 8 people died and hundreds were injured when crowds at the rapper's headline set in Houston, Texas rushed toward the stage. Conspiracy theories that have spread on social media include claims the crush was a ritualistic sacrifice. TikTok spokesman told Newsbeat that it was removing any suspicious content. What about all the symbolism that was put out? All of it. All of it. His shirt, the whole see you on the other side, the upside down cross going into what looked to be a portal. into hell, of course. What about the advertisements for it? The true dystopia is here with Travis Scott on it. What about all the all-seeing eyes? What about the fact that you had to walk into his mouth in order to get in there? And those are just very simple, a few. That's not even all of them. So they came out real quick and they said, people know it's a ritualistic sacrifice, taking it down. That's how you know something's true. Which, that's exactly what this was. We know that. I know that. You know that. Masses of people don't, but you know what? It's working on them. So, now we will move on. Okay, here we are over at Yahoo News. Why are prices so high? Blame the supply chain, and that's the reason inflation is here to stay. Yeah, so just blame the supply chain. That's the reason inflation is here to stay. First of all, they're telling you that inflation is here to stay. What they're not telling you is that this is all planned out. You can read Klaus Schwab's book, COVID-19, The Great Reset. Tells you about all of this. But we'll just go ahead and keep believing this. Consumer prices soared in October 2021 and are now up 6.2% from a year earlier, higher than most economists' estimates and fastest increase in more than 3 decades. At this point, that may be no surprise to most Americans who are seeing higher prices while shopping for shoes and steaks, dining at restaurants, and pumping fuel in their cars. Well, let me go down a little bit. Okay, so apparently the Federal Reserve, which would be responsible for fighting inflation if it stays too high for too long. Yeah, okay. And they insisted on November 3rd, 2021 that it'll be temporary, in large part because it's tied to the supply chain mess. Bedeviling economies, companies, and consumers. And they just go on about, stuff like that. And it says right there that the inflation will likely be with us well into 2022 and beyond. And this person claims, I study supply chains and their impact. It's true that prices are surging largely because of severe shortages of both goods and labor in supply chains. But based on my research, that doesn't mean it'll be temporary. Rather, it suggests that inflation is here to stay. They're telling you that I can't. Sound like a broken record. This is literally part of the Great Reset into the New World Order. Okay, let's see. And they're blaming us, really, is what they're doing. I'm looking for the part in here where it's talking about, well, it's saying supply and demand is down and all this stuff, and people are in their homes. But it says something in this one about the truck drivers, I believe. But really, this is all just crap because we live in a debt-based economy and it's doing exactly what it was intended to do from the beginning. They're crashing it in a controlled setting. But given that there is great difficulty finding drivers, containers, and labor across industries, big retailers, and offering generous education and other benefits to both attract and keep employees on hand as a means of adding capacity. So basically it just goes on about how supply's down, all of that going on, but it don't matter what they say. What matters is the truth. They are causing this hyperinflation. That's where it's headed. And the reason for it is the same reason why they're doing everything else. I really don't know how many times we have to tell people, this is the New World Order. There's no other explanation. You think this is all coincidence? You think that all these happenings are just random as they tell you? And it's just, oh, this is just a result of responding to the virus. No. So, yes, inflation here to stay. We're in that time. We're in that time right now. Moving on. Okay. Here's the last thing that I'm bringing to you guys today. 6-phase plan to New World Order. This was published on November 8th, 2021. And Pathway to New World Order from Henry Macau. Phase 1. Simulate a threat and create fear, which was, of course, December 2019 to March 2020. Mount A situation. Kill tens of thousands of elderly people. Increase the number of cases and deaths. Position V as the only solution from the beginning. Focus all attention on C-19. Result, almost general panic. Did that not happen? That happened literally exactly the way that this says. Phase 2. Sow the terrors and division, March 2020 to December 2020. Impose multiple unnecessary, liberticidal, and unconstitutional coercive measures. Done. Paralyze trade and the economy. Done. Observe the submission of a majority and the resistance of a rebellious minority. Done. Stigmatize the rebels and create a horizontal division. Done. Censoring dissident leaders. Done. Punish disobedience. Generalize PCR tests. Create confusion between cases, infected, sick, hospitalized, and dead. Disqualify all effective treatments. Hope for a rescue V. Result? General public. Come on. It's not that hard. You would think that if this was all coincidence and they were just responding to a virus, then they wouldn't have gotten this far. It almost seems like everything was carefully coordinated and planned out. Oh yeah, because it was. For anybody watching this video that has not seen any of my videos before, if you don't understand the agenda for world government, then you are blind as a bat. And you probably take part in politics and watch TV while you eat your TV dinners. Phase 3. Bring a treacherous and deadly solution, December 2020, June 2021. Offer a free V for everyone. Vaccine, I could say, I guess. Promise protection and return to normality. Oh, they're still going with that one. They're still going with that one. Establish a herd immunization target. Done. Simulate a partial recovery of the economy. Done. Hide statistics of side effects and deaths from injections. Done. Done, and more done. Everything is literally going as planned for these guys. And what are we doing? Arguing with each other, being complete morons. Passing off side effects of the injections as natural effects of the virus and the disease. Recovered the notion of a variant as a natural mutation of the virus. Justify the maintenance of coercive measures by not applying the herd immunity threshold. Punish health professionals for illegal exercise of care and healing. Result? Doubts and feelings of betrayal among the vax, discouragement among opponents. Yeah. Oh, we're getting up to where we are. Phase 4. Install apartheid in the QR code. June 2021, October 2021. Voluntary plan for shortages. Impose a vaccination pass, QR code to reward the vaccinated, punish the resistant. Create an apartheid of the privileged against the others. Take away the right to work or study from non-vax. Withdraw basic services to the non-vax. Impose PCR payment tests on the non-vax. Result: first stage of digital control, impoverishment of opponents. Come on. Here we go, guys. We're getting into the meat and potatoes. Phase 5. Establish chaos and martial law. November 2021 to March 2022. Exploit the shortage of goods and food. They're getting there. They're getting there. Are they not? This is right now, by the way. Cause the paralysis of the real economy and the closure of factories and shops. Been happening since phase 1. Or 2. Actually, it was 2. Let unemployment explode. Apply a third dose to the vax. Take up the murder of living old men. Impose compulsory V for all. Amplify the myth of variance, the efficacy of vaccine and immunity of the herd. Demonize anti-vax and hold them responsible for their dead. Is this not happening to a T? Arrest opposition leaders. Bye, guys. That's where I'll be when this comes. They'll be coming to arrest me just because I have a small following on a YouTube channel. And I'm posting harmful content according to them. Impose digital identity on everyone. QR code, of course. Birth certificate, identity document, passport, driving license, health insurance card. Establish martial law to defeat the opposition. Result: second stage of digital control, imprisonment or removal of opponents. Now, here we are at the last one. Phase 6. March 2022, September 2022. Cancel the debts and dematerialize the money. Ouch, that's happening. Trigger the economic, financial, and stock market collapse. The bankruptcy of the banks. Okay, we're pretty much there. Rescue the losses of the banks in the accounts of their clients. Activate the Great Reset. Dematerialize money. Cancel debts and loans. Yes, yes, yes. Impose the digital portfolio, digital wallet. Seize properties and land. Ban all global medicines. Confirm the obligation to vaccinate semi-annually or annually. Impose food rationing and diet based on the Codex Alimentarius. Extend the measures to emerging countries. Result: third stage of digital control, extension of the NOM to the whole planet. And that is the end here for this. Every single one of these things is happening exactly in order, exactly as this says. And this guy that wrote this up, this is very, very accurate. Very accurate. And I guess we'll have to see about, because a lot of phase 6 things are happening right now. In phase, what phase are we in right now? According to this. Phase 5. We're in phase 5. So soon comes the martial law, which we already know they're putting kids on, or troops on school buses, driving around kids, hospitals, police, all military people now. They're going to bring the troops in fast, but not too fast where we would notice. They moved them around all of 2020. Now they're getting into position to take over and to force us into this one world communist government. There was a guy a while ago that was talking about stuff like this, and he did not have a very good ending, if you know what I mean. I'll find him and I'll bring him up for you guys, of course. But if you can't see that all of this is a coordinated, well thought out plan, I really don't know what to tell you at this point, because they're being open about it. They are being open about it. I don't know what else to say on that one. I'm thinking about doing a live stream tomorrow. So if anybody wants to, you know, come see or join in and talk, that'll work. I'm not sure what time I'm gonna do it. See what I got going on tomorrow, but I will try to schedule it ahead of time, at least by like 4 or 5 hours, so you guys could like jump in there and be like, okay, this is when it comes on. You might not get a notification. A lot of people don't get notifications for my videos. Don't know why. Let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.